Like it's like a, okay, I have to explain it better. Okay. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about series that I don't intend to finish, and for the most part these are series that just didn't work for me for one reason or another, but there are some that have a really specific reason or a specific character that made me decide not to finish the trilogy. These are all popular young adult trilogies or series, and they did not work for me. So let's get into it. The first one being The Red Queen. So there was nothing really in this book that I hated. There was just nothing I loved. And the main character, Mare, she comes off as seeming like she thinks she's really smart and she's gonna, work her way up into court politics, and then you're kind of like, no, you're getting played. Like, please stop thinking you're so smart. You're not. And that actually was really obnoxious to me because I felt like she didn't really know what she wanted. She wasn't a character I could really sympathize with. And there were so many guys in this book that were potential love interests. And it constantly switched around to, oh, this guy's the favorite. Oh, this guy's the one she likes. And it didn't seem like she knew who she was supposed to like in the book. So I just kind of gave up on it. The story is that she is a red. She has red blood, meaning no magic. The silvers all have magic. But, lo and behold, she's the one red who actually has magic, and she gets taken to the palace and is to be trained and live as royalty, because they're going to try and pass her off as a silver because they don't want anyone to know that the reds actually can possess magic. So that's the premise of the story. It was kind of felt like a mashup of a lot of young adult novels I've already read, and it just didn't wow me at all. Okay, so this one, let's talk about The Cruel Prince, which is not what this book is about. It is about a girl named Jude who is stolen away from her family when she's stolen away to Fairy when she is very young. Her parents are murdered right in front of her, and the fairy who murdered them takes her and raises her as his own, along with her twin sister and her half-sister, who is actually the fairy's biological daughter. So yeah, it's something. There is not a lot of good characters in this book. In fact, I will go so far as to say there is not one character in this book that I actually cared about. At one point, there is a gigantic bloodbath happening, and people are just dying left and right, and I was like, who is that? Like, why do we care? I don't care. The author, I felt like, was going for a whole bunch of morally gray characters, and that works only for so long for me. If there's not any redemption, if there's not anybody I care about being redeemed, then I don't care that they're morally gray. They're just not good people, and they're just not people I care if they win. And that was how I felt about Jude. She is definitely not above doing whatever she can to get what she wants. And all she wants at this point in the book, in the series, in the first book, all she wants is to be accepted into Fairy. She is immortal, but she wants to be seen as one of them and treated as one of them, and she will do whatever it takes. She makes very bad deals. She puts herself in really bad situations. She doesn't care, though. All she wants is to be accepted by the fairy, and it's really weird because a fairy murdered her parents in front of her. They've done horrible things to her, but all she wants is to be in the fairy court and to be one of them. And you're supposed to kind of feel sorry for her and want her to reach this goal of being accepted, but why? I didn't get it, and I felt like she wasn't a good character that I could get behind, and I didn't care about the love interest, which was kind of it's not even a enemies to lovers romance. I mean, like, they still hate each other as far as I can tell in the book. They're just, like, they make out, and I was like, okay, whatever. Bye. Oh, okay. If you've seen my review, you know how I felt about this. I don't like this book, didn't even bother finishing it, have no intention of finishing the series, and I don't plan on reading anything else by this author for the time being. She has another big series, the Throne of Glass series, but I'm kind of trying to stay away from big epic series for now, and this was not good. I didn't like it. Feyre was not a good character in my opinion. She was not sympathetic in any way. Tamlin wasn't a good character. And if you want to go off of who was interesting, I think Rysand could have been an interesting character. But I'm not interested in the torture, evil, evil person turned lover situation. I can get behind a bad boy romance. I love Kylo Ren, and that's a thing. But it has to be done right. And I just didn't feel like, the actual torture and stuff was, it kind of grossed me out. And I was like, oh, later they're going to be a thing, and I don't, meh. So this one just fell flat for me, and I've heard that the other books in the series are good, but if you don't care about the characters, I don't see the point in continuing this series. So, not for me. Okay, now we're getting into the ones that hurt, because I like this book. This book is good. I enjoy it. There are some great characters in here. Hello, the Darkling, he's great. And then there's some characters I hate. And this book, Shadow and Bone, is the first book in the Grisha verse, and it's about a girl, well, I always forget her name, like that's how memorable she is, Alina. And not any real problems with her, she was just kind of so-so, but she discovers later that she has powers, basically. Everybody gets tested when they're young to see if they have these powers, and she gets tested when she's young, and they say she doesn't, but then later she miraculously has these amazing powers and is able to save people. And then she gets taken to train as a Grisha, and they all have different colors that represent the different abilities that they have. So she has a friend named Mal, and he's her childhood friend, and you find out later that the reason that when she was young she didn't test, that she had these powers was because she suppressed them to be with him, to not be separated from him. Okay, I hate Mal. I did not like his character. I did not like him. I hated every time we got back to Mal because it seemed like a huge setback for the character. She was making herself physically ill and sickly by suppressing her magic to be with him. And he was definitely the stereotype of the friend character that doesn't realize, that she's in love with him and treats her as one of the guys and talks about, oh, I'm going to go see this other girl in her tent, blah, blah, blah. And I didn't like him. And I thought he should have died at the end of this book, and I would have continued this trilogy. But he didn't. And I know he's going to be in the other books, and I don't care. I hated his character. I hated that she kept going back to him and that he treated her so bad and didn't care about her until he thought, she was gone forever. And then it was, well, you were with the Darkling and I saw you and you like that. And it's like, yeah, she's finally being accepted and you can't be happy for her. Like, you're just a jerk. Nope. And lastly, another book I liked. I would recommend. I like Caraval, or however you want to say it. This is a fun book. I like Scarlet. I like Julian. I thought this book was a quick read, and I totally was all about it. There are some things, though, that I hated about this book, and that would be Tella, Scarlet's sister. So this book is about Scarlet and Tella, sisters that are being abused by their dad, and Tella decides that they need to go to Caraval. They've got tickets. It's like this magical show where you can either watch or participate. It takes place over several nights, and Scarlet is determined that she is not going to go because she's got a fiance that she thinks is going to save her and get her away from her dad. So Tella basically kidnaps her sister, and Scarlet ends up at Caraval and has to play the game to save Tella. Okay, so let's talk about Tella and why I will not be finishing this series. Tella is awful. Tella is the total stereotype, which I didn't know I hated until I read this book, of the impulsive, selfish younger sister who ruins everything for the main character and basically puts her in a situation that she doesn't want to be in, and then she has to get out of that and go save this wayward younger sister. I have a younger sister, and I love her, and I just feel like it's such an overdone thing in fantasy of this younger sister that, oh, she's so impulsive, oh, she does this, and I don't like it. I don't like it. It's not for me. Very good trope. I don't enjoy it, and I think it really does a disservice to actual sister relationships because it's rarely so black and white. Like, rarely is there a really responsible older sister and a really impulsive, selfish younger sister. I'm sure it happens. But Tella is awful, and Scarlet goes through a lot during the time of Caraval. She sees dead bodies. She loses a day of her life, like she dies for a day. Things happen that are, magical in this Caraval situation. And all of this, you find out later, spoiler, is orchestrated by Tella. She has communicated with Legend, who runs Caraval, and he has set all this up to kind of test Scarlet, and it just, to me, that wrap up at the end made me mad. I really like Scarlet, I like Julian, but I felt like Tella was just awful, and all of it relied on her being so selfish and so deeply believing that her sister loved her more than anything, that she would do anything for her. And she really played on that love and used it to her advantage, and I didn't like that. It made me feel like she was a terrible person. And the next book is about Tella. So for me, Caraval is just a one standalone book. Like, I'd probably reread it, but I'm not interested in Tella's journey. I don't like her. I don't like her character. I really, really don't care what happens to her. So yeah, that's why I probably won't finish the series. But I like the book. I will say there's nothing wrong with the writing or anything like that. It was interesting, and I wish that the series would have just left Tella out of it, because she was definitely, for me, the worst part of the series, and the worst part of the first book. So those are all the series I don't intend to finish, and I would love to hear what you think about them, and if you've read them, let me know, and let's talk in the comments. Please like and subscribe, and definitely stick around if you enjoy this content, and I hope to talk to you soon. Bye.